All right, well, let's get this show on the road. Hi there, everyone. Welcome along to the 5th WoTA webinar, where today or tonight, depending on where you are around the world. And we've got people joining us from 13 different countries and 16 different operators. And we're going to discuss how high quality and innovative TV production can affect betting and drive handle and turnover in your particular racing jurisdiction. Coming to you live from the heart of horse country in Louisville, Kentucky, I'm Andrew Brown, representing the Churchill Downs owned wagering company Twin Spires. I also work for the marketing agency BOC, which stands for Betting on Content. Off the top, just want to say a huge thanks to Florence and Harold at WoTA, who, aside from all the other great work they do, have assembled an incredible cast of experts in their field from right around the world for what promises to be an insightful and entertaining webinar. The panel's presentations will be sent to you afterwards as well. And we also will, towards the end, have a Q&A session. So keep those questions coming throughout the webinar, and we'll make sure that they get answered towards the end as well. A little later in this webinar, you'll be hearing from our special guest keynote speaker, Soren Schillen. I think I said his last name correctly. Now, Soren has worked with major TV companies and sports organizations worldwide, and he will share his vision for the future of racing broadcast and what personalized experiences could mean for the industry. Welcome along, Soren. Give us a wave. You will also get to hear a little later from Anthony Tote from the Hong Kong Jockey Club and how Hong Kong racing utilizes its broadcasts to appeal to Gen Z or Gen Z, whatever you prefer. Hello, Anthea, welcome along. Now, Becky Green will also join us from Racing TV in the UK to discuss their innovations with a special focus on the World Pool events as well. But up first, all the way from down under, she's very excited. Sorry, I should have said welcome along, Becky, as well. She's very excited. It's Hayley Attard from Sky Racing Australia. She's the channel manager there. She's been looking forward to this webinar for weeks now and has put everything she possibly can into her presentation. Sky Racing, Hayley, it's obviously a massive beast. It's owned by Tabcorp, the main tote there with the monopoly on the tote. Probably pioneers in racing broadcast for a really long time, for decades now. I actually used to work there in the late 90s, a lifetime ago. But you're going to tell us the future and what's happened in the last couple of years and all the innovation. Welcome along to the webinar, and take it away. It's all yours.
Thanks, Andrew. And thank you everyone for having me. I'm just going to share my screen with you all now. Let me know if you can all see that. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. I'll keep going. Like I said, thanks for letting me come along. My name is Hayley Attard, and I am the channel manager at Sky Racing Australia, and I directly manage the Sky Thoroughbred Central, which is our boutique thoroughbred only channel. To start, I just want to give you a bit of an overview. Like you said, Andrew, we are a very, very big beast. So I just want to talk to how unique we are, not only as a racing network, but as a broadcaster as well. So here are some quick facts. Being a national broadcaster, like I said, we cover thoroughbreds, harness and greyhounds, and on average, 60 live race meetings per day. All three codes, we deliver just shy of 16,000 meetings per day and an impressive 143,000 races. Delivering pitches to this scale is a mammoth task, and we do this via our DVN network and the use of some 280 satellite trucks, because Australia is very big and very vast. We have 5 to 10 control rooms in production per day, and that's on the day dependent, and we operate for about 18 hours a day. We have 12 studio floors. 2 of those are managed, I should say, remotely from other states, and we've done well over 1,000 live crosses into race day and shows from video links since COVID has begun, so that's also pretty impressive too. Sky Racing Media Network. So the media network, we have multiple platforms. Again, as you mentioned, we are a very, very big beast. Sky 1 and 2 are our main wagering drivers, and with wall-to-wall racing. Sky 1, the red channel, that's our main support driver and delivers all our premium and international racing across all 3 codes and carries about 65% of that total racing schedule volume. Sky 2, the blue channel, delivers mainly our international product, but both work hand in hand, delivering and ensuring that every event is covered. Sky Thoroughbred Central, the purple channel, my favourite because I manage it. Again, like I mentioned, that's our boutique channel and thoroughbreds only. And we are the provider of most of the content that gets distributed to all our platforms. And we have, this is a bit of an overview, we have on average about 24 shows per week, and that is outside our vignettes and other packages that we do. Sky Racing Active, our OTT digital platform, that offers users a platform to watch what they want, when they want, and it's also, we've also just launched a Hong Kong channel on that, so that's good to know. Radio, we also have a radio network, and that goes across 5 states, and then there is Sky Racing World, which is our US broadcast channel, which features racing from around the globe, and we broadcast into the USA, Canada, and South America. So now broadcast innovations, which is what we're here about, which is what we're here for, I should say. So what you've just seen there is that we have every single platform covered to reach our viewers: linear, social, digital, radio, etc. And my role is to provide the content that goes onto these platforms to reach the customer. Our coverage of what we've done differently from other, what we used to do is we don't just rock up on these feature days now. Our coverage of these feature race days starts well in advance. It begins 1 to 3 months before that feature race. We follow these horses, so by the time that we get to the races, our viewer and players have an intimate affiliation with the animal, trainer, jockey, or connection. So it's not just an informed wager that they're having, but it can also be an emotive wager. So how does broadcast drive turnover? How do we do this? It's all the 1%ers. It's not rocket science. It's not, we're not breaking, we're not groundbreaking. All we're doing is we're just starting early on everything we do and taking the customer on the journey to capture all that futures betting. We do this in the way of stable visits. When a horse starts its campaign, we go and show it to the customer. Form shows. Once upon a time, we did 1 form show a week leading into a Saturday. Now we start our form shows on a Monday, and then they run pretty much every day with different form experts or a different way of looking at things. We do promotional content, feature packages, constant cross promotion and links to, again, futures markets and current markets. It's all about quality vision and quality broadcast, which is, what we're about. Little things like enhanced trials coverage. So we don't just show trials anymore. We enhance them. If there's Group 1 horses going around, we put our Group 1 team, our Group 1 talent team on there for their expert opinion. And it also just gives another layer to what the punter can look for. So we're training their eye so they can see it firsthand what that horse looks like when it comes back, and mixing all that up. Jump outs and track gallops. So by covering these, people ask, why would you do that? But by covering these, we're providing just another layer of hard to access footage and bringing more information to the customer. Video links, Zoom, Skype, vMix, TVU, no matter what type of network it is. What COVID has done, and it's been very good for us, it has forced innovation in what we do. We've had to pivot the way that we broadcast, and location isn't a barrier for us now, which it has been in the past, being such a big country. By using this technology, we have increased our content and interviews on our channel by well over 300%. So all our shows are encored, that's another element, and everything we do, we take snippets out of these shows and we redistribute them to all our platforms. And then all that content that we make, we leverage again through our social and digital platforms, and it's really just amplified from there. So these are just a couple of ways that we are benefiting from high quality broadcast and getting maximum value out of everything we do. So, you know, our view is the more educated the customer is, the more confident they are. The more confident they are, the more likely they are to have a bet. And it's pretty simple from our end, I should say. Sorry, just skip the slide. You guys all up to speed with that? You're on feature race days. So large feature race days. So obviously these are our grand final days and what we're working to. On a large feature race day, we increase our exposure and everything we do, and we have roughly 3 times, if not more, cameras on course than what we would on a standard race day. So they consist of helicopters, tracking vehicles, jibs, steady cameras, super slow-mo, the phantom camera we call it here in Australia. And we do all this through a high definition broadcast truck delivering multiple vision and audio streams. Why do we do this? Why do we go to the effort? Why do we go to the expense? People always ask us. It's because we want to deliver our product to the best possible way we can, and because we are trying to maximize the product, and because we are sending it to a range of different platforms, free-to-air networks, on course, international feeds, Sky Thoroughbred Central, Sky One, our own channels, our OTT platform, as well as pushing all our content to social and digital, as I mentioned. So one thing out of this is what we do. We actually have a social team member, and they sit in our truck and they are dedicated to show pretty much everything we have. So all these cameras and enhancements, it's one thing to make them for linear now, but to have a social media member in that broadcast truck and having access to all these cameras, all these interviews that may not make it to air, having access to all these different audio streams, and hearing, being the eyes and ears, and bring that straight to the customer, bring it to their device, which is the way, you know, it's the way of the future, and it's allowing people very quick access. We don't leave any stone unturned on these large feature days. Mounting yards. Everyone does mounting yards, you know, they are what they are. But our coverage of mounting yards, the way we've enhanced our mounting yard coverage is we having all these cameras on course, we get the horse arriving. We're bringing the customer more information about how that animal has arrived when it's on course, what it looks like when it gets off the float. Are they vetting it down the back? We have cameras dedicated standing there waiting to capture all this. We're talking to the strappers, we're talking to the vets, we're talking to the trainers. We're bringing vision to not just linear, again, to our social and digital platforms of what these horses look like. And our viewers and customers and punters, that they've told us that they want to see more of this. So that's been a very big enhancement for us. And again, just an extra layer of knowledge for that customer. Steward's vision. Steward's vision was once a sacred place in what we did, but now we work closely with the stewards, and we now share that steward's vision on our websites and other platforms. Again, this has been a very good, we've had a good response with this, with our form customers, and it's just an extra enhancement we have. Helicopter vision. So we obviously do a lot of feature races in this country. We love our racing and we love our feature racing, and we like to, you know, there's big prize money at stake, which they want high-end broadcast with that as well. Having that helicopter vision, pushing it to our platforms, not only have we seen huge engagement on social platforms, on the social platform from an entertainment point of view, but running that on our websites and as a form replay, we've seen extremely large numbers, you know, following this vision. So eventually down the track, we will look to do more of this. Creating profiles. The last few years, we've really focused on creating profiles within our own broadcast team. I'll give you an example. Lizzie Jelfs, the pick of the yard, David Gately, giving people that enhanced experience. So we're trying to hone in, instead of just throwing a blanket approach out, we're trying to really hone in on that person's expertise and market it that way. So market David Gately's quaddie, and that's his expertise. Why not leverage off that? Not just, so in those profiles as well, it's not just about creating profiles within our team. We also try and do it within the product itself. So finding the underdog story, finding a story, bringing making the customer familiar with the animal, the trainer, finding a story in everything we do and building that relationship, again, giving character to these people and animals, and then just adding another layer of someone not just to have an informed bet, but an emotive bet. So that is definitely something that we do focus on as well. Wagering. Obviously, our racing is heavily geared by wagering, and this role, and this is the role that we play in all of this. And visually, we do horse biometrics, heart rates, stride lengths, ground covered, how long they'll be standing in the gates for. We're developing weather apps with Triple S, ground condition from any position on course, wind and speed direction, and all the weather touch points that we have around a race course. The aim is to better utilise and present the data we have at our dispersal. All of this is pretty much enhancing the way we broadcast and contributing to wagering, which is what it's all about. Obvious one, I think we're all doing it as well, is we constantly have to stay relevant. We have to update and update our infrastructure. We're in the process here at Sky of updating our studios, which include multiple virtual sets, and also our control rooms with technology. So I think that's not, that's just the way of the future. Everyone has to do it, and you just need to stay relevant. And I think that's the most important part of that slide. So that's just a bit of a snapshot of what we do here at Sky, or a quick summary, I should say, of what we do at Sky day in and day out. So yeah, I guess, does anyone have any questions, or I will finish up. So thank you for listening.
That's awesome, Hayley. Thank you so much. What a great presentation. And don't go away, because I think there are going to be lots of questions for you, but at the end of the webinar. So keep them coming through on the Q&A. But look, just watching that presentation, I think we can all probably get an appreciation for why Australians spend more per capita on gambling than in any other nation in the world. But all that real estate on the screen is pretty phenomenal. Hayley, I don't know if you know this, but back in the day when I first started at Sky, we actually used to manually type everything that went up on that screen. And just looking at it now, there's no way in the world that we'd be able to do that. But yeah, it's really cool. I've got a quick question for you before we move over to Anthea. You talk about sort of the importance of content now going out on social channels. What I found really interesting was that you've got somebody sitting in a truck on your big feature race days that's purely focused on social, and they may be getting content that may not necessarily go out on linear, which is fantastic. But overall, is it a linear first approach and then you're taking cut downs for social, or are you also creating purpose-driven content for your social channels?
Yeah, it's both. It originally started years ago with, they were just picking up, I'm going to say, the offcuts of what we were doing. And then now we actually factor it into what we do. So there are times where we know that we're not going to have time to get this person, but we know they're going to be there at a certain time, or we won't be able to show a horse arriving on course. So we still manage that into everything we do. So we meet with the social team, and as we have a lot of producers on the ground, and they're constantly filtering that information through. So we definitely have them front of mind in everything that we do as well.
That's great. And it's basically delivering content to people where they are, and on the apps or in the pubs or clubs that they are, and where they want to consume their content. So yeah, fantastic stuff. And as I said, stick around, Hayley. I'm sure we're going to have plenty of questions for you at the end of this webinar. Thank you very much for that presentation. That was awesome. All right, well, coming up next, from Hong Kong, live from Hong Kong. I think those of you that consume Hong Kong racing know that it's just a fantastic product. It's always so competitive. And, you know, they really do a great job at the Hong Kong Jockey Club with all their broadcasts, both domestically and internationally, shipping their product right around the world. And Anthea Tote joins us from the Hong Kong Jockey Club to talk to us a little bit about what they're doing to appeal to the next generation, Gen Z or Gen Z, depending on how you like to say that letter. Anthea, thank you so much for coming along, and take it away. It's all yours.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, and also thank you, Haley, for sharing. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm Anthea from the Hong Kong Jockey Club. So before sharing some of the ideas we have on the production for the next generation, let me first give you some background information on what we are actually current offerings. So being one of the world's most established racing institutes, HKJC has been delivering racing content to the race goers for more than 20 years. We have different programs provided within our 7,500 hours of output per racing season. They include live broadcasting, pre and post race analysis, simulcast race live, and infotainment videos. And for years, our output has been consumed by existing racing lovers. And until today, we have an accumulated of 5 million global audiences. However, when we look into the detail, especially in the demographics and the average age of our viewers, we realize that we are actually struggling to attract new audience to our content, which over time might diminish our standing and also our role of racing in Hong Kong. Given there are only 20% of viewership belongs to the new generation, which we also name them as the Generation Z or C, we believe there is a necessity to attract the new generation and balance the ratio among the audience. So Gen Z, also the first iPhone generation, has a completely different media habits. As a digital savvy, Gen Z prefer to use social media, for example, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook as their primary source of information. And meanwhile, this group of generation usually looks for a personalized and interactive experience. And they also favor in fun and humorous videos with different KOLs and also YouTubers featuring. However, when we look back into our current offerings, we are not meaningful nor relevant to them, as we are not speaking in the language, we are not displaying through the channel, and we are not showing what they are actually looking for. Therefore, we decide to test a new strategy to change their perspective towards horse racing and hopefully to cultivate a generation of lifelong racing lovers. So to achieve this goal, we have to transform our iconic race day program and let the new generation realize that horse racing is not a wagering activity for the older audience. And instead it can be world-class sports entertainment for fans of all ages. And also we will augment our programming in a completely new way in order to deliver a message to them that racing can be a lifestyle, and it can be cool, it can be fun and sophisticated. And through the embracing in the advance of technology, in the content and the popular culture and entertainment, we hope to put horse racing in the heart of this group of Gen Z and the culture. And we will utilize the new program to build relationship with them gradually, from a very casual one to a committed one. And during the process, we will include a range of new, innovative, informative, and also entertaining content. And we believe that entertainment shows shall be the first types of video to be shown, because no matter you are a horse racing lovers or not, entertainment or variety show can always catch your attention easily. And then we will lead on to provide some lifestyle videos with different racing elements included. And we believe with the inclusion of different racing contents, it can help to develop audience interest in the horse racing. And by then we will provide more informative program to them, for example, some racing stories. But it will be in a fun and humorous style. And we will lead the audience to look into the horse racing through different angles, not only looking at the race event during the race meeting, but also look into maybe some of the history and also fun facts that are about horse racing. And after all, we believe that audience by this time will already have devoted into this field, and they will then looking for more, and especially the live racing events. And in order to keep with the fun and interactive humorous style that Gen Z are actually looking for, we will provide a brand new flagship broadcasting show with different interactive gaming elements included, which can enhance their watching experience. So let me first start from the beginning to tell what we are actually proposing to include in the entertainment shows in order to catch the Gen Z attention. So the entertainment show will include different game series with KOLs featuring, whom should be famous among the Gen Z group. And we believe with these elements, it can help to create a talking point among the Gen Z. Taking Running Man, the Korean variety show, as an example, it is actually a very successful program by that time, as it has become one of the hot discussion topic among Gen Z. And I remember during that time when I'm in the college, most of the student association will take reference from this variety show and organize similar activities for the students and for the members. And we believe with these fun and interactive content, and also the featuring of different famous hosts, it can easily resonate with Gen Z and catch their attention. However, it is not simply a game show. We will also include different racing elements in order to increase the linkage in between. For example, the game and the activities or the challenges will actually be taking place within the race course, or even some of our newly formatted retail branches. We will also occasionally invite some jockeys or trainers to be our special guests and join the challenge with the KOL so that we can shape a cool and sophisticated image among this generation. So once we have caught this group of Gen Z attention, we will provide some lifestyle videos to retain them and also deliver a message that horse racing can be a lifestyle. So let us first enjoy the video, which will give you a brief idea on what we are actually imagining. As shown in the video, we are planning to share horse racing as a lifestyle through different angles. As a new show with new format for the new generation, we will share the latest happenings around the race course. For example, the music events, the outfit of the day that we will capture what our guests are wearing when they visit the race course, and also include some gaming and entertaining elements in order to provide an immersive experience to our audience. And other than that, we will also invite some special guests, for example, YouTubers or vloggers, to take some video logs around the race course or experience a day in the life of our staff. Maybe, for example, experience a day in the life of the stable assistant. And the major objective of this is to show more behind the scenes to the audience and also allow them to learn more about horse racing from a new angle. And we believe with the implementation of the entertainment shows and also the lifestyle videos, viewers can gradually develop an interest in horse racing and build a more committed relationship in this field. And we think that by this stage that audience would like to have more information about horse racing. Therefore, we are proposing to also include racing, the inside stories for them. So these inside stories will be focusing on the trainers and also the jockeys, and we will get closer to the backstory of each success. The stories will not only reflect the ups and downs of the individuals, but also the human drama within, and also show what it takes them to the triumph. And we believe the revealing of the trainers and the jockeys' hard work can let audience to learn more about them, not only seeing them during the race day and looking at the performance, but also their efforts behind. It will actually bring our audience closer to the action and allow them to discover more. And on top of the backside story, we will also share some of the history and fun facts about horse racing. Maybe, for example, we'll talk about the race course history. We will also share maybe how much does the jockey earns or the methods of raising a horses. And instead of sharing this video in a dull or traditional way, we will package the story with different fun facts disclosed. And we will also ensure to keep the content fun and humorous in order to attract the Gen Z. And talking about fun and humorous elements, it is actually also a winning formula for the live broadcast. And therefore, it is proposed to offer a Gen Z-focused flagship broadcast, which will include different interactive elements. So let us also enjoy this video, which will also give you a brief idea on what we are imagining in the new broadcast show. So as shown in the video, instead of being an informative with a lot of wagering information provided type of broadcasting show, we would like to deliver horse racing activity in a fun and interactive way. The live reactions of our professional commentators and KOLs will be captured, and also different gaming elements will be included in order to make the show more fruitful and interesting. And we will also have a change in the display channel. Instead of showing on the television, we're proposing to broadcast it on the YouTube or Facebook, which allow audience to comment and also interact with our host instantly. And meanwhile, we will also provide an easy to read odds table for audience, so they can keep track on the status when they are also enjoying the live broadcast. However, not only the changes in the content are required, but also the methods of watching live racing needs a transformation. Therefore, we are proposing some new ways to watch the live racing. And we will utilize the technology, for example, artificial intelligence or Internet of Things in our live broadcasting. And starting from the paddock to the live race, then to the post-race analysis, we will ensure that our customers have a brand new and also enhanced watching experience. For example, in the past, we may have difficulties in tracking the horses on field. However, with the application of AI, artificial intelligence, audience can recognize and also locate their horse easily and efficiently. And other than that, we will also apply the big data analysis and also the real-time statistics in order to provide our audience with more all-rounded information and further enhance their wagering experience. It is actually not an easy task to capture the new generation, to capture Gen Z, as we cannot cultivate a generation of lifelong racing lovers in a flash. We have to refresh our schedule and also be ahead of the curve in order to create a resonance with this group of new generation Gen Z. We shall take this action step by step and also build the relationship gradually, starting from a casual one. Then we will provide different types of programs, different types of videos. For example, as what I say, the entertainment types, the lifestyle videos, the racing stories, or even very different types of live broadcasts. And then we believe that by that time, we will be able to develop a committed and also a close relationship with the new generation. And during this long process, it is important for us to bear in mind that we need to speak in their language and also communicate through the right channel in order to groom this new generation as one of the racing lovers. So here's the end of my sharing today. Thank you very much for your interest and also attention. So I will pass the time back to Andrew.
Anthea, thank you so much. That was awesome. What a great presentation, and so interesting what you and the Hong Kong Jockey Club are doing. As you said, not an easy task to capture the attention and cultivate new fans from the next generation of racing fans, but it's certainly an important task for the future of the sport that a lot of us all love. So that was fantastic. When you said we've got to speak the language of this next generation of fans, Anthea, that was one interesting thing. Probably, are you actually creating your content in multiple languages as well? And can you tell us a little bit about that? I know you were saying that was a figure of speech, but I gather you're also creating content in a variety of languages.
Actually, at this stage, we are focusing on a single language. But when I'm talking about speaking in the language, it's actually we need to learn the trend, learn what is actually trending among the Gen Z, and stick to what they think they are interested in and provide similar things to them so that they can resonate with the horse racing, with the culture. So what I mean in the speaking in the language is not literally the language, but it's what they are looking for and what they are actually interested in.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. All right, well, thank you so much, Anthea.
Thank you.
And please stick around, as I'm sure there'll be some questions coming through. Don't forget, if you've got any questions for Anthea, just pop them on the Q&A box down there at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get them answered in just a few moments towards the end of this presentation. Now, coming up shortly, you're going to want to stick around because they call him the Oracle of Sweden. His name's Soren Schlieling, and he's got a really soothing voice as well, and he's got a lot of innovations and great stuff, technology to talk about. So stick around for him. He'll be coming up very shortly indeed. But before him, we go from Hong Kong to the United Kingdom, where we find Becky Green from Racing TV. So Becky works with international betting operators to provide the wagering customer with the world's most engaging betting services. So they deliver over 7,000 betting events broadcast from 61 UK and Irish race courses. Becky, thank you so much for joining us today, and we're really looking forward to your presentation. Take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And I'm delighted to be here representing the Racecourse Media Group. And I'll give you some insight into how we use our production channels, TV channels, to promote and stimulate betting, specifically around the World Pool events that we have hosted this year. Firstly, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on the Racecourse Media Group. As the name suggests, we're a media rights business owned by 34 racecourses, and we also manage the rights to the 26 Irish racecourses as well. So 100% of our operating profit goes back to the racecourses as license fees. Since RMG's inception, we have grown revenues to around 130 million per annum over the last 15 years. Making us one of the largest funders in UK racing. Now, obviously, over the last 18 months, we have actually been a lifeline to a lot of the racecourses in the UK, particularly that they have been very reliant in the past on admission, and with that being curtailed over the pandemic, the media rights has been incredibly important to them, and has kept their heads above water during some very challenging times. So we've got 5 key business areas. Racing TV, now that's our direct-to-home subscription channel, which is our primary customer-facing business unit. Racing TVI, which is our international tote betting service distributed globally. We have the Racecourse retail business, which is the distribution of live pictures and data to the licensed betting operators in the UK and Ireland. That is also supported by online streaming and our Racecourse data company. So today, I'd just like to focus on how we use our 2 channels and we use those to promote and stimulate betting, specifically around our feature meetings, and this year the World Pool events that we have hosted. As I'm sure a lot of you are aware, the Hong Kong Jockey Club created the World Pool event in 2019 at Royal Ascot, and since then it's been rolled out globally, and the UK will have facilitated 17 events in 2021. RMG, we have hosted 11 of these events. They've all been our feature high quality race meetings, from the Newmarket Guineas, with the Epsom Derby, Corridor Clips at Sandown, glorious Goodwood, the York Ebor Festival, and most recently we've just had the World Pool event at Leopardstown, which is the first time that Irish racing has been simulcast into Hong Kong. That was Saturday just gone. So our key objective this year has been to promote and raise the awareness of the World Pool event to our domestic audience, and not only our domestic audience, but to drive it internationally as well, to help it become a truly global pool. And we've worked very closely with our partners, the UK Tote Group, and obviously Hong Kong Jockey Club as well. So as RMG, the majority of our revenues are generated on turnover deals. So it is in our interest to promote and drive turnover so that we can provide greater returns to our shareholders. So firstly, I'll just look at our direct-to-home service and the domestic engagement. So Racing TV is a subscription service. It's to 60,000 members in the UK and Ireland. And around our feature meetings, we try and build, again, a story in the run-up to these meetings. Now, we do have fairly restrictive regulations from our domestic regulators, Ofcom. So we have to create quite a sensitive story around betting and certain events. But for example, what we did in the run up to the feature meetings, we did daily news items that had associated stings. And that was a really great way to drive the awareness of the Whirlpool brand. We also used our talent, and they were to reference that this was an upcoming Whirlpool event, again, driving that awareness angle. It's a new concept, and there's a huge piece of education that is required to our customers. And we would, with every news item, collateral, we would clip and edit and then promote that via our digital platforms, where there's a little bit more room to go into the detail about how to bet and a little bit more of the concept behind it. On the actual days itself, we were able to facilitate interviews with our partners, UK Tote Group, again, going into a little bit more detail about what the Whirlpool is, what it means to our customers, and ultimately at the end of the day to drive and get a call to action to bet via the UK Tote. This is all supported on the day with Whirlpool prices on screen and having that bespoke graphics to support the data. And actually with, that we're briefing all our talent so that they can raise major differentials between the fixed odds market and the tote market, so that we can pinpoint some key benefits and price points that the customer, to go and bet via the tote rather than on the fixed odds. Obviously, we are a predominantly fixed odds market, so we need to really push the angles where the benefit is with the customer. And again, we just would ensure that we had really good brand coverage to again enhance that the brand awareness. Just touching on a development that we have heavily invested in this year, just before the Cheltenham Festival in March, we launched our high-end virtual studio. Again, it's the key objective of this is to bring the viewers closer to the action. So we've got a seamless journey from the on-course presenters to the team in the studio and back again, just making it a more immersive, interactive experience for our viewers. I'd just then like to touch upon Racing TVI, which is our international tote betting service. This is distributed to around 30 territories worldwide, and it is a predominantly betting service. So we stimulate and have betting prompts whenever possible, and really create that on-channel promotion. So round that, and it isn't, I think as Hayley alluded to earlier, a lot of it isn't rocket science, it's day-to-day stuff, but it's vitally important to engage with our customers, and particularly an international audience who may not be so familiar with our content. So it's giving them assistance to help and make an informed betting decision. So race day previews, we do those on a daily basis, ramp it up in advance of all our feature meetings. Festival promos, making people aware that when we've got our feature meetings coming up. And probably one of our key unique sites is our timeform icons. Again, that's designed to just really help inform and give our punters an overview of our racing that they might not necessarily have that insight themselves. So, and again, supported by tips and local prices on screen. With that, we were able to support with Whirlpool explainers. Again, it's a new concept. We've got the responsibility to educate our customers, both domestically and worldwide, on what this means to them. And the on-channel activity is all supported with digital marketing assets. So we don't just rely on our TV channels, we do support it with the provision of marketing assets and on our social media platforms. So I think, everyone said, customers are looking for their own unique viewing experience. And with that, we work really closely with our international partners to offer them the flexibility with what they want to offer their customers. So for all the World Pool events, we provide a bespoke service to Hong Kong so that they can produce a service to their customers that's going to be the best and going to stimulate betting. So we facilitate all their requirements by the provision of a broadcast truck. We have a dedicated race day director who will speak to the team in Hong Kong, and a huge selection of feeds, head-on cams, and also the slow-mo cameras, so that we can provide the most invigorating action from the track, along with the support of experienced and recognised voiceovers. This year, we introduced a sectional timing onto the feed, and this is something that we're really trying to develop. And for next year, we'd hope to be able to also incorporate that into our preview shows. I think obviously there are many territories that are very, very data-driven, and that is what drives their betting. And so we really want to develop this for the future. And then just quickly touching upon the provision of our talent. So we use our talent with our international partners and offer them the ability to be able to use our talent on their panels. So they've got an expert based in the UK or Ireland who can talk about the racing, and they're always briefed about the importance of what the message we want to get across. Obviously, predominantly the preview of the races, but with that, it's talking and giving the opportunity to talk about certain events such as the World Pool. So we've, from an international perspective, been able to use the virtual studio for race by race previews, really detailed. We do them at the 48-hour declaration stage, and they are race by race footage. They have the supply of content from previous form. And again, this is where we want to engage with the sectional timing in the future and incorporate the analysis of that into the previews. But this is where we feel it's our, we need to engage with our international customers and help them make an informed decision about their betting and the promotion. So we've used the studio, and we've been able to have the flexibility to be able to put logos on it. And that means that it becomes more of a personalized service to some of our partners internationally. And just to finish off with, it is a huge educational piece. In the UK and Ireland, our race courses are hugely unique. They're left-handed, right-handed, they've got undulations, climbs, so we feel there's a huge responsibility to be able to ensure the customers have all the information to hand. So this year we've done very detailed track insights, where we have the clerk of the course who will be able to talk about the track idiosyncrasies, and also walks with jockeys and former jockeys who can give that insight on how to ride a course. Again, it's bringing the viewer close to the action. We've been using the latest drone technology as well to give that bird's eye view. And the jockey head cams, which I certainly think adds a huge amount of drama and excitement. It's giving, very, very few of our customers will be, have ridden in races, and to give them that perspective, I think does make it, give it a slightly different angle as well. So just to finish off the presentation, I have got a show reel that brings all of what I've spoken to life, and probably does it much better than my presentation. So I'll just bear with me and just need to share a new screen.
Yes, welcome to the Goodwood Lowdown in association with the Hong Kong Jockey Club. It is such a brilliant week on the Downs coming up.
And the Goodwood Lowdown today, well, David O'Mara discusses his team ahead at the Qatar Goodwood Festival with Chris Dixon.
Snow Lantern, who was a brilliant winner of the Tattersalls Falmouth Stakes. She's trained by Richard Hannon, who joins me on the phone. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Angus. 2 to go, or 400 metres up to the winning post. This is a stage of the race where you've got to be making decisions, haven't you? Whether you're going to ride for luck and stay on the inside or try and edge out to the outside and get a clear run, haven't you?
And John, you're 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, Joan of Arc for me for a big stake, horse number 4, 1 Ordaria, 3 Empress Josephine and Lady Bowthorpe, who has gone really well all season. Again, a bit like the Gordon Stakes, it's a good renewal.
I'm very pleased with the track. We've had a great summer from our point of view, plenty of rain, warm. The track's come on really well after our June race days.
Welcome to the Qatar Goodwood Festival.
Whirlpool's in its 3rd year now. It's created by the Hong Kong Jockey Club as a chance to bring together pool betting from around the world on all of the best racing.
It's Trushan and Holly Doyle in front, inside the last 200 yards, and now pulling away in magnificent style. So Gellhorn is the last one for the Whirlpool EBA Phyllis Handicap. They're off. Shane Murphy have won the Qatar Sussex. Like Blue of Magical Wish tried to bite a rival there. Hieronymus being joined by Magical Wish, tight between them.
Magical Wish has gobbled them all up.
They're ready. The Whirlpool handicap, and away they jump.
When the dealing stump has done the job well.
Time for the feature of the Nassau Stakes.
And they're away.
The Ladyship gets her Group 1 in the Nassau.
Brings back some wonderful memories from glorious Goodwood.
Oh, for sure. That's got the crowd all worked up. Becky, for our next speaker, I think. Thank you so much for that presentation. That was awesome. And that virtual studio just looks insane. Every time I see it on air, it just looks amazing. I don't want to ask you how much it cost to build, but I'm sure it was a lot. Thank you so much. I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions for you too, Becky. So if you can just hang on for a little bit longer, and they'll come through on the Q&A section below. And also, Racing TVI will be getting underway here shortly in the US. So if you can find me a winner at Yarmouth and Fontwell, that would be great as well. So just while our next guest is speaking, if you could study the form, that would be fantastic. Okay, so we get to our keynote speaker, and we're all very excited about this one. Soren Schilin, who is behind the development and tracking and graphic data visualization for ATG there in Sweden. He's also one of the merging founders and CTO of the global broadcast graphics entity Kyron Hego, as well as one of the driving forces behind a real-time tracking solution. Did I tell you that he's also been honored with an Emmy? I refer to none other than the Oracle of Sweden with our keynote for today about the future of where racing broadcasting could go and personalized experiences. Soren, it's over to you, my friend. Good luck with everything, and we're all looking forward to your presentation.
Thanks a lot. I think you might have already oversold it.
Not at all.
Let me push the proper buttons here and share the screen. And then go here.
What did you win your Emmy for, by the way? Just while you're getting things sorted out.
It was for a project together with the Major League Baseball, where we were taking tracking data and real-time visualizations and creating like telestrated replays, if you like to really share insights of baseball. Baseball is, as a matter of fact, pretty similar has similar challenges or similar, what you say, dynamics to the sport itself. It's basically, there's basically a lot of waiting, and then there's a lot of action, and then a lot of waiting and a lot of action. So yeah, it actually has some similarities. Are you seeing a screen where it says sports is entertainment now?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. So about me, you already said it, so I'll flip through it. So I wanted to focus a lot of these incredible presentations, and also like all the stories that have been told are a lot around how we package our shows outside of the actual live event, and how we prepare and how we build and how we continue to digest and how we continue to make it interesting. My focus is on the actual live coverage itself. And I want to start with this. This is the 1936 Olympics. It had a lot of, obviously, it was a lot of shameful stuff going on in the context of this, but it was actually the first time that live television was happening and transmitted of sports. And it was a remarkable technical achievement. And already there, and this is sort of what I'm aiming for with live production, I feel that there might be, this is where it's set off, because it is so technically challenging and has been. The editorial angles have sometimes, or quite often, have to stand back and are at the like on the mercy of technology. So basically, this would then illustrate that what happened in the beginning was that they probably looked at filmmaking, and in a filmmaking environment, someone is making whatever, they're performing something, and the camera knows what it's going to see, so you can place it perfectly, and then you can create this perfect view of this particular scene. Whereas in live television, it's never like that. It's always, it's always like you try to cover it with more cameras, you try to do more stuff, try to add more stuff, but it's always this element of unpredictability, which is we tend to put a lot of technology at it. And some technology is like, what is this? And what does it do? Who wanted stereo television? Who actually was the driver for even 4K? It's obviously fantastic and it looks great, but it's not like it's a editorially driven need. It's more maybe this guy. So this brings us to a very, very high level view on, and probably to some, well, it's probably disrespectful because, and I'm not, the idea is not to say that things is not going anywhere, but follow me on this one. So we have an event, we put a couple of cameras and stuff by that event, and we put a control room with a crew to cover it and do the real-time coverage. And they are sending all of this to a huge number of people. And it's all in one single narrative. And this basically hasn't changed since the 1936 Olympics. It's very little feedback is coming from the actual audience, and is actually being able to direct and helping them provide their ideas and their needs for what they'd like to see and how they would like to be entertained by this particular event. And the whole thing that we have, like this one crew doing everything and being like the voice and the the editorial guidance of everyone creates a couple of conflicts, because we have obviously the editorial need, which is like something like this: we need another interview with that guy, says the editorial guy. But on the other hand, someone else on the other side says this calls for high resolution, or this calls for some sort of stereo microphone array or whatever. And then we have the analytical angle, which is like something around like, keep all the players in the shot. We need to see how they interact. And that's basically what's most important. But at the same time, we have the drama, which is giving the close-up of this guy's wife. This is the saddest day in his career. So basically, we have all of these things conflicting and pulling this one single narrative in different directions. And especially during a live coverage, this becomes pretty clear. And this one crew is then obviously, it shows whether they are really good or not, how they handle this. But I think that we have an opportunity right now, and particularly within the sports of racing, to go about and change that a bit. And here is another thing with horse racing in particular, that has been a really huge thing going on in Sweden. In Sweden, trotting is much more predominant than horse racing, and like a couple of, or many, it wasn't that many years ago, but maybe 10 years ago, this was what you got. You got like brown horses against a brown clay background, and very unclear what is actually happening here. This is the most exciting moment in the race, by the way. This is the finish, but it's pretty hard for anyone who's not super insightful about the sport to understand this. So there's been a driver from ATG, which I must presume is very deliberate to make horse racing much more of a people's entertainment and a people's issue. So I'll show you a couple of things that has been done. So this is the absolute main event of Swedish trotting, and thanks to ATG, I got to borrow a little bit of the material. Stuff that they have done is a lot in order to create an experience for the broader audience. And here is, like, for example, just a simple thing, well, obviously pretty complex to put together, but the simple thing of this counter that goes around the track and just says how far is left of this race. It's for, if you don't have the actual insights, it's pretty hard to even know that this is going to be another lap, or this is the actual finish. And how you all visualize, how they visualize where the horses are in relation to each other. And then this thing, it's not unique, but it's really, I think it really puts the emphasis on explaining and making it really understandable, like this countdown to the actual finish. So when you reach the actual finish, we all understand that this was huge drama going on. Sorry about that. And so I think it's been interesting to follow what the trotting people have been very successfully doing in moving the horse racing or especially the trotting from like a pretty narrow audience to a much wider audience. And but I also what I want to put emphasis on is the actual unique stuff that horse racing has that more or less no other sport has. And I think we're talking about it a little bit, not enough when it comes to broadcasts production. So all the other sports broadcasts and whatever entertainment have the American Idol and the Eurovision Song Contests of the world, they're all trying and working to get the viewers' engagement through social media and other channels, where the racing world already know more about their viewers than anyone because of the betting. So the betting can drive a better, it's my true belief that the betting can drive a better coverage that will then drive more betting. And I'll try to illustrate what I'm talking about. So this is also from a clip that I got to borrow from the ATG guys. This is from their like in the works or labs. It's very similar to what we just saw, but what you see there on the map of the tracking map of the horses is that one of them is red, and the red one is actually the one that you've been betting on, because this is the view from the ATG viewer, and this is like the other key, and all you guys, or many of you mentioned it before about all of these other channels, not only the linear broadcast, but the world of racing is to a large extent taking control of their own distribution. So it goes through apps or other types of platforms where we or you can control a lot, or much more than you can do when just handing over a signal to a national broadcaster. So I would say that the next generation out of this, or the next probable or possible development out of this would be, so here is a main camera. But what about when I look at this, based on my bets, my main camera looked like this, because I have a bet for that particular horse ending up second. This is my most interesting angle right now. And this angle can be provided to me, or could be provided to me, based on the fact that the betting backend would know that this is what I would be more interested in. And by utilizing new technology, and also mentioned by the Hong Kong Jockey Club project, such as AI and all of these types of things. So let's say we go back and look at this. We have the event, we have the cameras and stuff, and we have all the people, but we will now be taking what I think the feedback that these people are already giving us there, and obviously add whatever feedback you can get from social media and so on. But the amount of feedback that we have already within the betting system is massive. It's going to be like that. It's very hard to believe that anyone is going to tweet that much. So if we were to take that and add that into a next generation type of production, where we take the betting data, we take tracking data, we do an image analysis of the feeds that we have at hand, we put that into AI processing, add our many years of editorial skills and production knowledge into that same AI processing. My true belief, and we've done some proof of concept in this direction, is that we can then provide individual narratives back. And I think that this is a super interesting development. And I think that this would be what is out there within a couple of years. And I think that the horse racing world is probably the world that is most well suited, or where this would be have the most natural implementation, because we already have all of the feedback. We have to an extent controlled environment. We have control over most of the venues, and we have a very, very mature organization, or a lot of mature organizations. Just look at the presentations we've already seen that are very much capable of really moving the needle and actually changing the game. So this was the kind of ideas that I wanted to just put out there and see if all the Q&A window now is full of, that guy is a complete lunatic. That was it for me. Andrew, complete lunatic, yes or no?
No, absolutely not. Like I genuinely think this personalized experience is the way forward. And I think, you know, you and I spoke previously of what the Breeders' Cup did at Keynote last year, and have a camera trained on every individual horse in every individual race, and then allow the viewer to sort of focus in on that particular horse if they wanted it. And now you, with your presentation and your ideas, you take that a step further indeed. I guess the question that springs to mind for me straight away, Soren, is where do you start to test these ideas? Like, how do they go from your head into a broadcast or a wagering operator's broadcast?
Basically, this is very, very early stage ideas, but as I said, we've been doing like our own proof of concept with the team that I'm working with, but it's also at least gone to the level of water cooler discussions with the friends at ATG and Canal 75 of Sweden, because the one thing that is, this would require an infrastructure that has a lot of video, but also real-time tracking data, and the capabilities of doing a lot of real-time analysis of the video. So it has to be somewhere where the infrastructure is pretty well built out, so for example, there's been tracking has been rolled out across all of the, like, I don't remember, but it's way over 20 of the race courses here in Sweden, and I think it needs to be. I think that this is actually something that can not has to be like the event, one single event of the year. I think this could be a production, a way of producing basically all the signals, but it needs to be obviously in collaboration with someone who has a really built out network of race courses.
Of course, and that could be someone like Hayley at Sky Racing Australia, or Becky, or even Anthea. And as we start the Q&A, and there are lots of questions that have come through. Also, I'd encourage the panelists, if you've got any questions for each other, yeah, definitely speak to each other now. Now's the time to do it. But Jamie Hart sent through a question for you, Anthea, if I can start with you. And Jamie Hart's from the UK Tote, and he's interested to know what new content has resonated, Anthea, with your 18 to 25 age group.
Actually, as what I have mentioned in my presentation, that I think the most attractive type of videos that can resonate with the Gen Z is the entertainment or the variety show. And actually, my team has tried to produce one entertainment show which will be used for research in the focus group later on. And I have actually shared that game show out to my friends, and the game show has included different racing elements. There are Q&A challenges that two KOLs will compete with each other and test on the racing knowledge. And there are also some of the elements that we will show what are happenings around the race course to them. And some of my friends who are actually within this age group, 18 to 25, they find it interesting, and they actually show that they want to visit the race course later when the pandemic gets better. And yeah, I think this is one type of videos that can catch the attention and also resonate with the Gen Z easily. And as mentioned, step by step, we will keep on providing different types of informative programs in a fun and interactive way in order to groom them to become one of the racing lovers.
That's great. Yeah. Hayley, I've got a question for you from Anonymous. And Anonymous wants to know, when you show the big bets on screen, do customers react? I think you did mention when you're showing the mounting yard mail, and I should actually, for our American audience, just point out that mounting yard actually means paddock as well, in case you weren't quite familiar with the phrase mounting yard. When you show the mounting yard picks and things like that, people, you have data around people actually betting on those picks. But what about the big bets? Anonymous was asking.
Yes, definitely big bets, especially the more significant the bet, the more we see, or it depends on the horse, or what we're putting it on. But yes, our data that we receive from our tab wagering teams, we definitely that's the feedback we're receiving, that we definitely do see a spike once we put that graphic on screen.
Interesting. I'd be interested to know too, that heat map that you showed, where people's vision was going when the graphic screen was up. As a result of that particular study, did you make any changes, or did it just sort of drive home that you're doing the right thing?
We made a few little changes. It kind of, and we're making changes down the track as well. So again, off the data that we've received from that, it kind of enforced what we're already doing is the right thing. However, we still have potential to tweak in other places. So we got really good feedback around the actual vision. So as the race got closer, people were wanting to see their horse or animal behind the barriers or the boxes. And so it really turned red, if you're looking at the heat map. So people were really focusing in on the actual animal itself and the animals going into the gate. So that was something that was, quite interesting at the time. So in future, yes, and we look to be doing more of these focus groups as we update our graphics down the track as well.
Gotcha. And another question actually from Jamie Hard at UK Tote is wondering what content sharing initiatives you might have with Channel 7.
In terms of our shows?
Yeah, I guess from the terrestrial stuff with your linear broadcast and stuff like that on big feature race days.
Yeah, we work quite closely with the free-to-air network, Channel 7. So we share a lot of content between us. We obviously share a lot of cameras, so there's no overlap in what we do. So we share most of our boutique cameras with them for, again, just doing business deals with them, and we get something in return from us. We share our vision with them, our racing vision, etc. So we work quite closely with Channel 7.
Gotcha. Becky, from Paul Cross, what are the most popular bet types with UK punters on World Pool Days?
Okay, well, obviously there are 4 bet types as part of the World Pool, which is the Win, Place, Quinella Place and Trifecta. We obviously, as a media rights business, don't get the breakdown of the UK customers, but I mean, we've got a number of UK Tote representatives on participating on the webinar today, so I don't know whether somebody might be able to jump in. But from the kind of breakdown that we see, it is dependent upon obviously field numbers. But the Quinella places, the Quinella and the Quinella Place are pretty popular, making up about 20 to 25% of the bet type each. And it's quite evenly split. Win and Place are both around the sort of 16 to 20% as well. That's just based on some data from one of our race meetings that we hosted. I think Jamie actually may well have added some detail onto the chat room. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight anyway.
There you go, he has too. So win bets with the recreationals while the pros tend to play the exotics. Geez, thanks. We should have had Jamie on as a panelist, I think. Next time for you, Jamie. And actually, it was nice to see Susanna Gill in your video too. Becky, hi to Susanna. I'm sure she's watching from the UK Tote. There's another question here from Anonymous, actually, for you, Becky. The costs around producing a broadcast for a big important race day. Can you share any light on that?
Yeah, sadly, I wouldn't have that insight. I actually don't work as part of the production team, but there is continual investment and overheads. And I'm not sure actually what IMG would share in terms of those costs overall, but it's a significant investment each year. And obviously, as everyone's alluded to, the innovations and further investments, such as the virtual studio and we're continually investing in the cabling and just ensuring that everything is HD and you know, kind of does have the best pictures.
Sure, and you've got another one from Anonymous around Racing TV and Racing TV International subscribers, like the number of subscribers. Can you share a little on that?
So obviously Racing TV, I think, as I said in the presentation, it's 60,000. I think we're actually at 63,276 subscribers, and that's domestically in the UK and Ireland. Racing TVI, we don't actually have figures because that is the service that we distribute to our betting partners globally. So, you know, kind of it's, as I say, between 30 and 40 countries globally, and that's to individual betting operators, to their retail units and also online, like in the US. So, you know, it's a significant reach.